We're beginning today with a second set of news conferences and community events throughout the state of California to talk about the budget that the governor has revised and its effect on education, particularly because people have believed that everything is okay now. The governor said that the schools will get more money this year, the coming year, than they had in the present year, and fully funded Prop 98. But if you really look at what's happening, we are losing ground still. I mean, we are continuing to provide fewer services for kids, fewer opportunities for kids. This is a perfect example at this school where summer school, which has become a very important element in overall public education, because kids who are not able to take elective courses because they're not offered or they are not able to fit into a rigorous academic schedule have an opportunity to take some of those courses during the summertime. We are almost now exclusively using summer school for two purposes: either to remediate someone who's flunked a course and has to make it up in order to qualify for graduation, and to deal with the test. And so in California, it seems to me what we have right now is we have these very rigorous standardized tests, and then we have it's like a Hollywood set, no pun intended, but you see something very nice and you walk through the door and it's just being held up by stilts. You know, we have an academic system in California right now that puts a lot of emphasis on standardized tests to graduate from high school. You know, Darrell talked about the dropout rate far better than I could, but I know years and years ago when I was teaching, kids look forward to summer school for a variety of different reasons, and parents look forward to it for one reason, because for many of them you have this yawn between June and September. And now we're really consigning these kids to whatever it is that they're able to do. Kids who have come from families who are well-to-do, we'll be able to send them to camp or wherever else or buy art lessons. But it really belies the nature of public education. So the conclusion is we are not making it okay. We are not fully funding education. This school, as I understand it, normally would have 200 kids enrolled during the summer for a variety of different courses. This year they'll have 40, and there'll be kids who have to be here in order to remediate. So all the other opportunities, all the possibilities for socialization, everything would go to the boards. And when it happens in the earlier grades particularly, you lose track. If you're teaching, when you close the door in June and you reopen it in September, there is some loss. There's retention. You spend a lot of time trying to get people back into the swing of it, as it were, particularly younger kids. Summer schools help make that a seamless transition. So what we want people to understand is that this is happening right now. It's not. This is not a partisan issue, as we've said before. Summer school is offered in a variety of different places: Republican districts, Democratic districts. This is an equal opportunity problem. And in the final analysis, if we do not arrest this now and determine that if times are tough now, they're going to get a lot tougher, and we're going to have fewer people capable of mastering the challenges in the future. So what we want to do is address a budget that is recognizing where we are, where we've been, and where we're going. We have not come to the high point in California's future to say the best years are behind us. We are now on a steady decline. We are going to have budgets for mediocrity, and truly we can end up looking like Arkansas, where the standard of living, the per capita family is $32,000 a year. That's not what people in California, I believe, want. That's certainly not what my constituents want. So that's the way you have to look at this budget. There is a big hole here. We have to fill that hole. We have to summon up the courage. We provide the leadership to say, if we're going to get out of the hole, this is how we do it. And frankly, we can't continue borrowing because, as our good friend Tom McClintock's found of saying, first rule of physics is when you're in a hole, stop digging. Well, continuing to borrow is simply getting deeper and deeper in a hole. This budget is imbalanced primarily because of two things: declining revenues overall, and the fact that the governor gave a massive tax cut 3 years ago when he repealed the vehicle license fee. And whether you're for or against it, in retrospect, at the time, it didn't make a lot of sense because we were doing something without thinking through clearly what would be happening in the years ahead. And we are now in those years ahead, and it was a mistake to do at that time. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Darrell, whose home turf this is.
Thank you, Senator Perata. Appreciate it, Don. I'm glad to be here. I want to thank Norm Polakar for having us here, the principal, and thank Dave Gordon as well, our county superintendent, and Philip Moore, who's the associate Sac City Unified superintendent. We'll hear from them in just a moment. I think Senator Perata's analogy of a Hollywood set is right on, because it really doesn't matter what our words are. It's whether they're backed up by action. And I think that there's an assumption here that because the governor was able to put out a May budget that did not require the suspension of Prop 98, that somehow now education is okay. It's not. It's $3 billion lower than it would have been but for the cut-only approach to the budget here that the administration is taken. And summer school is a great example of why it is important to back up our rhetoric about education with action. Senator Perata is right. I've taken on the issue of the high school dropout rate because I think it is a real window into the achievement gap and our failure as a state to account for every student. We have 150,000 kids or more that are dropping out of high school every year. And if we're going to reduce that rate, they're going to need extra help. And that extra help comes oftentimes after school on Saturdays and during the summertime. This is a signal to a lot of those disappearing kids in our system that, I'm sorry, because we adults at the state capitol can't figure out the right balance between revenue and expenditure, we're just not going to be able to provide you the help that you need to succeed. And as the old cliche goes, it's penny wise and pound foolish. We want to build a tax base in this state. We better be educating and training kids for middle-class jobs or better. That's the only way we're going to get out of this budget mess over the long haul. And so we're holding this press conference to say that, it's important to get beyond the rhetoric. It's important to look at the numbers, and it's important to look at the impact on real people and real programs. Thank you. Dave Gordon, County Superintendent.
Thank you, Senator Steinberg and Perata. I'm Dave Gordon. I'm the County Superintendent of Schools. I used to be the superintendent in the Elk Grove District, which is about 62,000. The San Juan District's about 47,000 in the north part of the county. And I'm here to tell you, I've been in this business 40 years. This is my 40th year. I've worked in 3 different states. And I don't get it why people here don't get it, that cobbling together these budgets with gimmicks and schemes and borrowing avoids the issue that this is an investment in our future. Let me give you a couple of examples. The thousands of kids in Elk Grove and San Juan that will get shut out of summer school are the middle group of kids and the advanced group of kids. The middle group of kids you have to shore up or they'll drop into the lower group of kids and you'll pay for them again. The advanced group of kids are the future of the state's economy. Let me give you an example of the cost of not funding those kids. My daughter, when she was in high school at McClatchy High School, was able to use summer school to allow time to take 4 or 5 advanced placement courses. Those courses helped her get through UCLA faster, and that saved old dad money, but more to the point, it got her going on her career more quickly. And there's thousands of kids who we're saying to them and their parents, by the way, you're not going to have that opportunity this year. And that's too bad, but it's also, as Senator Steinberg said, it's penny wise and pound foolish. And at some point, we have to quickly wake up and say, that's not just hurting our kids, it's hurting our families. My 3 granddaughters go to school in the Elk Grove School District. Middle-class people out there, you're dependent on them to help you in your retirement by getting them good jobs. So we have to turn this around, and I commend Senator Steinberg and Senator Perata for all their efforts. Thank you.
Good afternoon. As a representative of Sacramento City Unified School District, I'd like to share with you the impact that the summer school funding model has on our kids. And this impact is significant, as we heard from our county superintendent and our senators, that we have to limit and curtail the number of offerings within our district. And yes, we have heard from our parents of those kids who have been locked out and denied the opportunity to extend their learning opportunities during the summer. And this is a situation that we're very troubled by. And we need our government officials to revisit the fiscal decisions that have affected our summer school programs. We have reduced the number of summer school sites from 33 last year to 19. And that poses a significant challenge economically for many of our families. Transportation is one issue. Because we curtail those sites, we know that students will not be able to have the transportation that they need in order to take the courses that will help them sustain the learning outcomes that we have established for them and for themselves. Our enrichment program, our activities, the arts, the music, those kinds of activities that are high engagement and high interest and that motivate our children are eliminated. And if we think about that effect of reducing the opportunities for students to be in an environment that's safe, that's constructive, that have adults that care about them and want to work with them so that they're prepared to start a new year with a degree of remediation and learning and opportunity, even through the electives, we're not able to do that. And so our focus this year and that reduction has resulted in our recruitment of kids who are below basic and kids who have not passed Casey. So what about the middle kids? Those kids who are doing well and need to sustain that effort and that need the additional support for the next 3 or 4 months during summer. We have closed the doors on those kids, and that is truly a tragedy in our community. I think that we have a social responsibility to provide all opportunities for kids, for our children. Parents want these options. They have called our office asking the basis or the rationale behind these decisions. And there's a certainty behind that, and the decisions have resulted from the fiscal decisions coming from the state to reduce the revenue reimbursement rate that we get for our children. If we're going to have a quality program, and if we're going to sustain the teaching and learning of our children, then we desperately need to fund summer school at past levels. So on behalf of our superintendent and our Board of Education, we implore the decision makers to reconsider and fully fund our summer school programs that provide a level of support from kids who need remediation to our advanced kids. And summer school has been a tradition in our state for many, many years. And as we've heard from our county superintendent and from our senators, the situation, I believe, can further decline the progress that we've made, and we don't want to see that happen. So thank you for allowing us to share our thoughts and concerns regarding the summer school funding model, and we hope that we will continue to revisit this issue and provide a quality program for all of our children. Thank you.